Hey you, yes you, you're a gamer, right? Oh no, oh well dang, I don't know why you clicked on this video then, but if you are, hi, I can relate to you. I am a gamer. In fact, I'm what they call a giga gamer. Since I was a wee lad, I've been playing video games. It's my favorite piece of media simply for the fact that for the few hours that I have, I get to escape reality for a bit and dive into something that I otherwise have no interest in doing or cannot do in real life. I'm talking about you, GTA.
Bravo, you fucking idiot.
At first, I found myself playing a mix of multiplayer and sports games growing up because my cashew brain couldn't understand the complexities of losing Roach and Ghost. But once I saw my boy Soap die, I ain't gonna lie, it made me shed a tear.
Oh no, Soap!
Dang. Maybe I should play more story games. All's to say that I'm more of a single player game type of person now. The way these games are able to grip you into their story and place you into the shoes of these characters and make you sympathize, sometimes even empathize with them, is just so impressive. Now I've played my fair share of games over the years, and a lot of these games made me laugh, a lot of these games made me cry. And that's because I'm a family guy. But as I grew up and matured and gained a sense of morality, I realized that one of the main issues that I have with these games, they try to make you sympathize with the protagonist. Now that in of itself isn't a bad thing, but when you take a second to really analyze these characters, you begin to wonder, wait, why did he kill him? Did he really just do that? Why am I playing this guy? You begin to realize that some of these people that you play as aren't good people. Now I've briefly talked about this subject in the past, but today I decided to make a whole dedicated video on it. And before I get started, as always, what's goody gamer? It's your boy, Professor Birdkiss. I hope y'all are doing well. I have come to deliver a message to you guys via carrier pigeon. Stop rooting for the protagonist. What does that mean? It's very simple. Stop rooting for the protagonists that are clearly evil. While this isn't typically my biblically based videos, I will mention stuff from the Bible, as that is where I get my morality from. So before y'all are like,
Birdkiss, you ruined the video by talking about religion and Jesus and
this is your moment to leave the video and save yourself and myself a headache. Also, I'ma let y'all know there will be massive spoilers for these games right here. We're gonna kick off this video with a game that I've been playing recently. In The Last of Us, you play as Joel, a gun-toting, barbecue-frying Texan with a very bitter outlook on life. That was my best impression of a southern accent, okay? Don't bully me. I mean, I would be lying if I said I wouldn't feel the exact same way as him, especially after his daughter got one clipped right in front of him. Should've popped the battery, some medis, should've used their ult and made some space. Nope. 20 years after this outbreak of this cordyceps fungus that turned anyone infected by it into these raging maniacs, Joel finds himself struggling to get by the days, having to sneak out past curfew in order to get some jobs done in order to sustain himself. He ends up being tasked by Marlene, the leader of a rebel militia group called the Fireflies, to smuggle a child to the Capitol building, Ellie. At first, he was reluctant to watch over Ellie, just trying to get her to her destination as soon as possible. But when the plan derails and the two of them have to make a full trek to Salt Lake City, Joel begins to bond with her more and begins to see her as more than just his job, but as a kid, like the daughter he once had, caught up in this desolated world. He teaches her how to survive, how to shoot a gun. He teaches her not to put your trust in the people of the world, like how a father would. The most powerful moment in their relationship is in chapter 9. After sustaining a grueling injury in the previous chapter, Ellie has to watch over him using all the survival instincts she learned from Joel in the prior chapters. Ellie ends up meeting two strange men named David and James. After negotiating a trade for some medicine and fending off a horde of infected, Ellie finds out that David's men were killed by Joel and herself back at the university. After giving the medicine to Joel and trying to escape these people, she's eventually captured by David. In custody, she learns that David is a cannibal, and also yeah, man, I know dude is so happy that EDP Watch didn't make it. Gideon's Big Odd was definitely the first to get eaten, bruh. That's all I'm saying. In a tense fight, Ellie ends up killing David, with Joel coming shortly after to embrace her. It's right here in my playthrough where I believe that Joel and Ellie finally established that true father-daughter connection with each other, which is why I also believe the ending is one of the all-time best in video game storytelling history. You see, Ellie is immune to the cordyceps, and Joel was tasked by Marlene to deliver her to the Fireflies in order to make a cure. The downside, she will have to die in the process. Stricken by this thought, Joel kills the Fireflies and the doctor in charge of the procedure, and Marlene to save her. Furthermore, Joel lies to Ellie when asked about it. However way you want to spin it, whether you say that Ellie didn't really have a say in the matter, which I agree with, or the possibility that they were going to use the cure as a leverage over Fedra, it still results in the death of an innocent man just trying to do his job, which makes Joel a murderer. As a matter of fact, there's plenty of points in the game where you can argue that this man murdered another person without a just cause. But this, no papi, you cannot plead self-defense for this. I get it. She's basically become like a daughter to him. And I'm not gonna say that if I was in this situation, I wouldn't have felt like doing the same thing, because it hurts to lose someone you love. But guess what? Grass grows, birds fly, sun shines, this guy still hurts people, and murder is still murder. And we know this isn't his first rodeo. When Joel and Ellie are ambushed by the hunters for the first time, Ellie asks how Joel knew it was an attack, and Joel says he's been on both sides of this situation. When questioned about whether or not he took innocent lives, he refuses to answer.
So, you kill a lot of innocent people? I'll take that as a yes.
Take it however you want.
Which is why I'm gonna go off on a limb and say, I do not feel sorry for Joel in the slightest here. The events of The Last of Us 2 are a culmination of everything that Joel did crashing down on him all at once. Not only was dude brutally murdered, but dude was murdered by his victim's own daughter. If that isn't fate, then I don't know what is, brother. This is 2 Samuel 11 verse 14 to 15. Now, I'm bringing this up because I want to show you guys not only how the Bible works, but how God works. And it came to pass in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. And he wrote in the letter saying, "Set ye Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle, and retire ye from him, that he may be smitten and die." This is the story concerning David's adultery with Bathsheba and the murder of Uriah. We're gonna skip to the next chapter and read verse 7, and then we're gonna skip. And Nathan said to David, "Thou art the man, thus saith the Lord God of Israel. I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul." Now, if you don't know what happened in this chapter, basically Nathan the prophet came to David and told him a parable, but David didn't know that the parable was actually talking about himself. And essentially, Nathan is delivering a message from the Lord, his punishment. "Now therefore, the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thine hast despised me, and thou hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them to thy neighbor, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of this sun. For thou didst it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun." Essentially, this is David's punishment. He's gonna be in constant war. Not only that, He's gonna be at war with his own children. But let's continue. Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, the child also that is born unto thee shall surely die. I bring up this story because God is known to make a punishment that befits the crime. In this instance, David caused a whole family to be destroyed, so God made it so that there would be trouble within his own family. You can actually read about how David's son, Absalom, actually revolted against him later in the book. Not only that, but God made it so that David would lose his other wives too, and he would cause the child born from Bathsheba to die. Joel murdered a man. Therefore, he was murdered himself. Not only that, but he caused the dude's own daughter to witness him dead. So in like manner, Ellie witnesses Joel's death. It's kind of poetic in a sense. With that being said, I'm gonna get on Abby's grass as well. She's no better than this man. Why? Because she took vengeance into her own hand. Leviticus 19 verse 17 to 18. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him. Thou shalt not avenge, nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord. Plain and simple. Don't avenge the deaths of anyone. Don't take vengeance on people. Yet, you got some people who are like, first of all, knowing full well that that law came from this book, ain't even using it properly. And second, you're cheering on a person who did something evil. That's straight up evil in itself. You aren't supposed to call what's evil good, and you aren't supposed to call what's good evil. What's even worse is they try to make you sympathize with this girl early on, like, oh my goodness, she got a dog. You could play fetch with the dog. I just lost my dog, and my brother told me how to chase the and even in this sort of redemption arc that Abby gets, she still kills Jesse, mars Tommy's eye, and damn near kills a pregnant lady, all for the sake of revenge. It had to take Lev to speak some sense into her in order for her to cease. And don't even get me started on Ellie, brother. She's on a whole revenge campaign where she's assassinating all of the people that killed Joel, which is bad on its own, but let's not forget that she's straight up gay!
Professor Pericles, you can't get political. That's not right.
Man, nothing's political about this. This is Leviticus 18 verse 22. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as womankind. It is abomination. God calls homosexuality an abomination, meaning that he is disgusted by it. It is confusion. Let me give you a real quick demonstration. This does not make babies. This does not make babies. This and this. Oh, that's so crazy. Oh my goodness. Don't you find that a little insane? It's almost like they were made for each other. I will say this. I do appreciate the endings of both characters in their own respective rights. Abby does grow to let go of the grudge that she has for Ellie, seeking only to protect Lev. And Ellie's shows an importance of how your misdeeds will catch up to you, and how one day you will be humbled. GTA 4 is a special game to me because this is the only game in the series that, in my opinion, takes its story seriously. Now that's not to say that there aren't goofy moments, but for the most part, the plot of this game is more darker in tone. Unlike The Last of Us, where at the very least, there's no real happy ending, but more of a humiliating one. In this, Nico gets no redemption arc at all. If you keep the canon ending, Nico refuses to take the deal with Jimmy to take the money from Dimitri, and instead kills him out of vengeance. Enraged by this, Jimmy crashes Roman's wedding. In the hopes of killing Nico, he ends up killing Kate. Nico, of course, gets his get back on Jimmy, and the gang rides off into the sunset, and everyone lives happily ever after. The end. Okay, obviously, I'm exaggerating a bit, but not really. Yeah, Kate died and all, especially when he was starting to develop feelings for her. But as far as we know, Nico was just able to get his revenge and move on. Not even Lester knows his whereabouts, and that's the problem I have with this ending. He gets off scot-free. His revenge is glorified. Imagine a whole nother ending where if he killed Jimmy, then it sparked a whole sequence of events where more and more powerful people wanted Nico dead, eventually leading to his demise. That would be so freaking dope, and it would show the consequences of revenge. But nope. And you know what? Throw in the rest of the GTA games because they essentially do the same thing. This game is the very embodiment of doing evil things. The whole plot is that you play as a person named V, a mercenary who takes on a plethora of gigs, with the majority of them involving illegal activities such as killing, stealing, bribing, blackmailing, Grand Theft Auto, and so on. V is tasked by Dexter Deshawn to steal the relic from Konpeki Plaza, and V is successful in doing so. Kinda. She ends up getting shot in the head, and now the engram that was within the relic begins to replace V's conscious in the form of a military veteran and rocker boy icon from the past, Johnny Silverhand. Now V is on a journey to get the relic removed before Johnny overwrites their consciousness and Johnny fully takes over their body. Now obviously, V is doing some pretty wicked things, but I want to delve into something more subtle. Among the murder, theft, and fornication, V, as well as the vast majority of the citizens, run on the cyberware like it's water. However, an overload of these cybernetic augmentations causes what's called cyberpsychosis, a mental disorder that causes people who have it to have a severe disregard for life, seeing people as weak and inferior, seeking to kill these people. We see this on display in the Cyber Psycho side quests and in Cyberpunk Edge Runners when David suffers the same fate. And the same thing could happen to V also if you install too much cyberware. In the DLC, they can use a special attribute tree where they can utilize the relic to get even more upgrades on top of the cyberware they already have. And it's even gotten to the point where people will completely alter their entire bodies just for the sake of these cyberwares. Sometimes not even for utility or practical use, but simply for fashion. And all of this comes crashing down on V when they have to make a choice in the canon ending, when Reed helps V finally remove the relic. While V goes on to live, the downside is they won't be able to use their cybernetics anymore, causing them to have to adjust to society and be a normal human. There are people that say they hate this ending, and for valid reasons. The game just ends. You can't go back, unless, of course, you have a previous save. But at the same time, this ending is amazing, because these cybernetics are what allowed V to commit all these crimes and be one of the deadliest mercenaries in the city. But now that they're reduced to nothing more than an NPC, they now have a chance to start fresh and repent of all the wrong they've done in their life. That's why I always choose to remove the relic, because by choosing to keep it, you're saying that your life compared to the riches and the cyberware and the power that comes from it is nothing. That's idolatry. V losing the relic is another prime example of a main character being humbled. Also, let's not forget that no matter what gender you choose V to be, you can be gay. But hey, at least, you know, this game, as well as other AAA studios, don't dabble in something like, I don't know, bestiality, right? Right? Skyrim. I love this buggy mess. There are a lot of things that I can talk about this game. Murder, theft, bribery, lying, even idolatry again. But let's delve deeper into this law. Every single character, regardless of your race, has access to some level of magic, whether that be restoration, conjuration, alteration.
PlayStation.
This is all wizardry, and it's all evil. This is Deuteronomy 18, verse 10 to 12. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord. And because of these abominations, the Lord thy God doth drive them out from before thee. Charms, enchantments, alchemy, familiar spirits, and necromancy are all things that your character has the ability to do. But it gets even deeper than that. Alchemy is where you can make potions that your character can use. Some of them can make your character broken as I don't know what. This of course in itself is witchcraft because it deals with the administering of drugs. Moreover, let's take a look at some of these recipes. This is the recipe for fortifying enchanting. This is one of the most powerful potions because combined with some other potions in a very particular order, you can get the most OP setup ever. But this isn't a tips and tricks guide. Snowberries and a blue butterfly wing. Huh. Interesting. This is the recipe for restore stamina. A purple mountain flower and a mud crab chitin. Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. Let's read one more. This is the recipe for cure disease and resist poison and restore stamina. Charred skeever hide and a mud crab. Now, what do all of these recipes have in common? They all contain at least one unclean animal that your character is consuming. This is Leviticus 11 verse 2 to 3. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Whatsoever parteth the hoof, and is cloven-footed, and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that ye shall eat. So the animal has to have a divided hoof, and it has to chew the cud, meaning that it's a ruminant animal. If it doesn't have both of these characteristics, that means it is unclean. Let's skip down and read 9 to 10. These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters. Whatsoever hath fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them shall ye eat. And all that have no fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you. And the animals in this case, which is talking about fish, must have fins and scales. If it doesn't, that means it's unclean. As a matter of fact, God is saying that these should be an abomination unto us. Now, let's skip down and read 20 to 21. All fowls that creep, going upon all four, shall be an abomination unto you, yet these may ye eat among every flying creeping thing that goeth upon all four, which have legs above their feet, to leap withal upon the earth. If a flying creature that walks on all fours doesn't have jumping legs above their feet, then it is unclean. God calls consuming these animals an abomination, meaning he hates it. As a matter of fact, he is disgusted by it, just as much as he is disgusted by homosexuality. That's right, people. No more seafood boils, because that got crabs and lobsters and shrimp and other abominations. You can't eat butterflies, because they fly but they don't have jumping legs above their feet. And absolutely no rats. And just to trigger the modern day Christians just a little bit, this also means no pork as well. Get that pork off your fork, brother. And the Dragonborn does all of this. This is just straight up abominable. And also, let's not forget, in the land of Skyrim, you can also marry other NPCs, meaning that you can be gay. But hey, surely it's only with human NPCs, at the very least, right? Oh god. Oh god, no. Those are Argonians.
Those are lizards.
Neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile thyself therewith. Neither shall any woman stand before a beast to lie down thereto. It is confusion. Oh, but Verticus, they're humanoid, and they're intelligent, and they're sentient, therefore, they can be To each their own, I guess. If you want to hop on Skyrim and get freaky with your lusty Argonian maid, so be it, you freaking weirdo. Now, I've talked about this game in the past because this game touches on morality and the theme of repentance all throughout the game. So I'm not gonna go too in depth about it. If you want to watch my Red Dead video, feel free to. But at the tail end of Arthur's arc, he makes the decision to try and gather up as much money as he can to try to convince the people he cares about to flee the gang. Instead of seeing this as a noble and honorable act, I see it for what it is. Selfishness. How so? The last train robbery mission is just that. A robbery. Arthur, as well as the rest of the gang, are murdering a bunch of soldiers who may or may not have had any involvement with the story up to that point. All just so they can get their money. Then of course you have Arthur slaughtering all of these Pinkertons at Van Horn. Then finally, in his last mission, Arthur all the way up until the end was murdering people. I would like to believe that he truly turned away from all of his evil acts the moment before he died, considering that he did all these things for the betterment of his people. But I just highly doubt that. Then we got good old Rip Van Winkle. This man had a good life. He bought a home for his wife and his child and a farm. All he had to do was just be a farmer for the rest of his life and he and his family would be set for life. But nope, he decided, you know what? Let me throw all of that away and got revenge on Micah. On top of that, once dude gets killed, his son does the exact same thing. And everyone cheers for him. That's just straight up evil, guys. Come on. My whole point with this video is not to say that you should stop playing video games, because I'm a gamer myself. I'm not even saying to stop playing all the games that I mentioned here. All I'm saying is, when you play these games, keep in mind the people that you play as. If you're playing as a character that does wicked things, and you find yourself mimicking their morals in the real world, then maybe it's time to put down the sticks on that one. I will say this though, it's gonna get to a point where there's going to be certain games where it's going to vex us to the point where we're not even gonna want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. I mean, I don't think anyone should be playing any games like freaking Honey Pop, where the entire goal of the game is to play and goon. And of course, my message doesn't apply to every single protagonist out there. There are some morally good ones that you play as, but stop rooting for the protagonist sounds a lot cooler than stop rooting for the majority of protagonists. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you like the video, share this with a friend, drop a comment, let me know what y'all think. Make sure you subscribe, we're almost at 1K subscribers. And yeah, that's about it. This is your boy, Professor Verticus. God bless you all.